Captain Hannah Lee sat perfectly still in her command chair. The only sound in the control room was the soft beeping of machines. Her eyes were fixed on the large screen in front of her. "Captain, we have something," said Officer Day, his voice breaking the silence. "The deep space sensors are picking up an object moving toward our solar system." Hannah stood up and walked closer to the screen. The Earth Defense Force's flagship, Resilience, had been scanning the edges of the solar system for years. This was the first time they had found something that wasn't just space rock or normal cosmic noise. "How big is it? How fast is it moving?" she asked. "It's big, Captain. About the size of a small moon. And it's moving in a way that natural objects don't move. It's changing direction." Hannah felt a chill run down her spine. After years of wondering if humans were alone in the universe, they finally had their answer. "Send the alert to command, Level 1, and get Professor Ta Kim on the line. We need him here now." The next 12 hours were chaos. Governments around the world held emergency meetings. Military forces went on high alert, and ordinary people looked up at the sky, wondering what was coming. Professor Ta Kim arrived at the Resilience 6 hours after Hannah's call. He was Earth's best xenolinguist, a person who studied how aliens might communicate, even though no one had ever met one. "What do we know?" Tai asked as he entered the control room. "They're definitely coming to Earth," Hannah said. "And they're not alone. Our sensors have picked up at least 20 smaller ships with the main one." Tai's eyes widened. "Have they sent any messages?" "Nothing we can understand. Just some strange signals that our computers can't decode." On the other side of the world, in a secret underground base, the leaders of Earth's nations met in an emergency council. The room was tense as they watched the same data that Hannah was seeing. "We need to decide now," said Director Min Kim of Earth's Unified Command. "Do we welcome them, or do we prepare for war?" An older man stood up. This was Jun Ho, a military strategist who had spent his career preparing for this exact moment. "We should do both. Show them we are peaceful, but be ready to fight if we must." Back on the Resilience, Hannah and Todd worked with their team to create a welcome message. They used math, simple pictures, and basic sound patterns, things that any advanced species should understand. "We're sending it now," Hannah said, pressing the transmission button. Their message traveled through space toward the incoming ships. Minutes passed. Then hours. "Captain, the large ship has changed course. It's moving faster now. Straight toward Earth," Officer Dai shouted. Before Hannah could respond, the ship's alarms began to blare. All across the planet, electrical systems started to fail. Power grids shut down. Communication networks went silent. "They're scanning us," Ta said, looking at the data. "Deep, powerful scans that are affecting our technology." From the main alien ship, smaller vessels began to spread out. They moved into orbit around Earth, ignoring the welcome message completely. In the control room of the alien flagship, Surveyor Prime Delphiner viewed the blue planet on his screens. To him, it was just another world to be examined and harvested. "Begin resource assessment," he ordered his crew. "This planet shows signs of primitive development, but nothing that would qualify them for diplomatic recognition under Federation law." His second-in-command looked concerned. "Sir, we're detecting artificial satellites and some basic space technology." Delphinar waved his hand dismissively. "Mere toys. They haven't even colonized their own moon. They are not our equals." Back on Earth, Hannah watched as the alien ships positioned themselves around the planet. It was clear they weren't here to make friends. "Get me command," she said quietly. "Tell them first contact has begun. And it's not going well." The alien ships hung in the sky like dark stars. For 3 days, they moved around Earth, sending powerful scanning beams to the surface. Everywhere the beams touched, machines stopped working. Cars wouldn't start. Phones went dead. Even military equipment failed. Commander Jun Park stood on the deck of the aircraft carrier Defender, looking up at one of the smaller alien ships through his binoculars. "It's just sitting there, scanning the ocean," he said to his team. "I think they're looking for something." The world's governments had ordered all military forces not to attack the aliens. They still hoped for peaceful contact. But Jun had a different plan. "Prepare the special boat," he ordered. "We're going to try to talk to them." The special boat was a small vessel with no electronic parts. It had been built for this kind of situation, with simple engines that the alien scans couldn't affect. As June and 5 volunteers sailed toward the alien ship, Dr. Su Yun was working in her lab thousands of miles away. Su was a quantum physicist who understood how things worked at the smallest level. She had been studying the alien scanning technology since it first appeared. "Look at this pattern," she said to her assistant, pointing at her computer screen. "The way their scanners work. It's like they're looking for specific metals and energy sources, but they're missing something important." "What do you mean?" her assistant asked. "They're scanning for technology that works like theirs, but some of our most advanced systems work differently. They don't see them because they're not looking for them." Sue picked up her secure phone, one of the few still working, and called Director Min Kim at command. "The aliens don't understand our technology," she explained. "They think we're more primitive than we really are." Meanwhile, Jun's boat approached the alien ship hovering above the ocean. It was huge up close, at least the size of a large building. "Activate the communication light," Jun ordered. One of his team members started flashing a powerful light at the ship. They used simple patterns, the kind that any intelligent being should recognize as communication. Inside the alien ship, a junior officer noticed the flashing light. "Surveyor, there's a small vessel below us. The natives are trying to signal us." Surveyor Relcon looked at the screen with mild interest. "Interesting. They're more organized than we thought. Record their signals for study, but continue the resource scan. We need to finish our assessment." On the alien command ship in high orbit, Surveyor Prime Delphiner reviewed the scanning data. "This planet is rich in all the resources we need," he said to his officers. "The native species has spread across the surface and built simple structures, but they will not be difficult to manage." "What about their attempts to communicate?" asked one officer. "Their signals are basic. They show some intelligence, yes, but not enough to qualify for protection under Federation law. Only species with multi-planet civilizations have such rights." Delphiner pressed a button, and a holographic map of Earth appeared, with bright spots showing resource-rich areas. "Begin preparations for the first extraction phase. We'll start with their moon to establish processing facilities, then move to these surface locations." Back on Earth, Director Min Kim met with world leaders in the underground command center. The mood was grim. "They're not responding to any of our communication attempts," he reported, "and Dr. Su Yan believes they're misunderstanding our level of technology." Jun Ho, who had warned about alien threats for years, spoke up. "This is exactly the scenario I predicted. They see us as primitive natives, not equals. They won't ask for permission to take what they want." "Then what do we do?" asked one of the leaders. "We activate Protocol Omega," Jun Ho said firmly. There was shocked silence in the room. Protocol Omega was Earth's last resort defense plan, a system of hidden weapons and technologies developed in secret over decades. "That would mean war," someone said. Director Min nodded slowly. "Yes, but I think war is already coming to us, whether we want it or not." On the ocean, Jun watched as the alien ship suddenly turned away from his boat, ignoring their signals completely. It began moving toward land, its scanning beams growing stronger. "They're not here to talk," he said to his team. "Get us back to the carrier. We need to prepare." As Jun's boat turned around, automated mining drones began descending from the alien ships toward Earth's moon. The first phase of invasion had begun. 1 week after the alien ships arrived, Earth's nations finally agreed on a plan. They would send one clear message to the aliens in many different ways. If the aliens were truly advanced, they would understand at least one form of the message. Captain Hannah Lee stood on the bridge of a small ship called Peace. It was Earth's best diplomatic vessel, designed to be noticed. Its outer hull was painted with mathematical symbols and pictures showing human peaceful intentions. "All systems ready, Captain," said her pilot. "We can launch when you give the word." Hannah took a deep breath. "Launch now." The small ship rose from Earth and headed toward the main alien vessel. On board, Hannah carried Earth's united message in many formats. Radio signals, light patterns, simple pictures, and even written text in hundreds of Earth languages. "We're being scanned," the pilot said as they approached the massive alien ship. "Keep going," Hannah ordered. "Show them we're not afraid." The Peace stopped a safe distance from the alien command ship. Hannah activated all communication systems at once. The message was simple but clear. "Request formal diplomatic contact before further action. This planet is sovereign territory." Inside the Doltheri command ship, Surveyor Prime Delthanar watched the small Earth vessel with mild surprise. "They managed to build a ship that can reach us," he said to his officers. "Unexpected, but still primitive by our standards." His communication officer turned from his station. "Sir, they're sending signals in multiple formats. Some are quite clever. They're requesting diplomatic recognition and claiming territorial rights to their planet." Delthanar made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Acknowledge their signal. Tell them we have received their message." "And what about their request for diplomatic talks?" Delthanar waved his hand dismissively. "Under Federation law, only spacefaring civilizations with presence on multiple planets qualify for full diplomatic status. They have barely touched their moon. They are a single-planet species. We will continue as planned." The communication officer sent a brief response to the Earth ship. Message received. On the Peace, Hannah and her crew waited anxiously for a meaningful response. When the short message came through, Hannah frowned. "That's it. Just message received. Nothing about our request for diplomatic talks." She tried again, sending more detailed messages explaining Earth's position, but the alien ship remained silent. Then suddenly, the Peace shook violently as the alien ship moved. More mining vessels were launching, heading not just for the moon now, but for Earth itself. "They're ignoring our warning," Hannah said. "Get us back to Earth immediately. We need to report this." As the Peace returned to Earth, Director Min Kim and the world leaders watched from the command center. "They received our message," Hannah reported, "but they don't care. They're sending mining ships to Earth now." Jun-Ho stepped forward. "This confirms what we suspected. In their eyes, we aren't advanced enough to deserve respect. They see our planet as open for taking." Director Min looked at the screen showing the approaching mining vessels. His face was grim but determined. "Then we must show them how wrong they are. Activate the first phase of Protocol Omega." Around the world, hidden facilities powered up. Special teams that had trained for years without knowing if their skills would ever be needed were called to action. Dr. Yun Choi, working in a secret lab deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, received the activation code. She looked at her team with solemn eyes. "It's time," she said simply. Her team began powering up a massive device that took up most of the underground facility. It was designed to disrupt the quantum communications the aliens used. Earth had been studying the aliens' technology since they arrived and had adapted their defenses accordingly. In space, the Doltheri mining ships approached Earth's surface, targeting mineral-rich areas. They expected no resistance from the primitive humans. Surveyor Prime Delthanar sent a final message to his superiors in the Federation. Resource extraction beginning on planet E3742. Native species present, but technologically primitive. No diplomatic status required. We'll begin relocation of natives from extraction zones as needed. As the first mining ship entered Earth's atmosphere, Jun-Ho stood in the command center, watching the monitors. "They should have asked permission," he said quietly. To the aliens watching from space, Earth seemed strangely calm. Humans went about their daily lives. Cities lit up at night. Cars moved on roads. It looked like people didn't understand what was about to happen. But beneath this normal surface, Earth was far from calm. Deep under the Rocky Mountains, Jun-Ho walked through a massive underground base that few people knew existed. For 20 years, people had laughed at him for warning about alien threats. Now his planning would save humanity. "Show me our current status," he said to the room full of military officers. A large screen lit up, showing dots all over a map of Earth. Each dot was a hidden defense site. "All facilities are ready, sir," said a young officer. "No one has detected our preparations. The aliens still think we're helpless." Jun-Ho nodded. "Good. And our space assets?" Another screen showed small objects in orbit around Earth. They looked like normal satellites, but they were actually weapons platforms, disguised so the aliens wouldn't notice them. "All in position. They can be activated on your command." Meanwhile, Dr. Yun Choi worked tirelessly in her underwater lab. The quantum disruption device was nearly ready. It would block the aliens' ability to communicate with each other, a critical advantage in the coming fight. "Run the final test," she told her team. The massive machine hummed to life. Screens showed energy patterns that matched exactly with the aliens' communication systems. "It works," shouted one of the scientists. "We can block their signals completely." Elon smiled. "Good, but keep it powered down until we get the signal. We don't want them to know what we can do until it's too late for them to stop us." At the same time, Dr. Soo-hyun met with Captain Hannah Lee on the Resilience. They stood before a strange-looking device that Sue had built by studying the alien scanning technology. "This will let us see what they see," Sue explained. "It copies their scanning methods so we can understand their technology better." Hannah looked at the device with hope. "Can it help us fight them?" "Better than that," Sue said. "It shows us what they're blind to. Their scanners miss our newest technology because it works differently than theirs. They literally cannot see some of our weapons." In orbit, Surveyor Prime Delthanar was pleased with the progress. The moon mining operation was going well. The first Earth mining ships would land tomorrow. "The humans are accepting their fate better than expected," he told his officers. "No resistance has been detected. Perhaps they understand their place in the natural order." His second-in-command wasn't so sure. "Sir, don't you find it strange? Most species show at least some military response when we arrive." Delthanar dismissed the concern. "Their military technology is primitive. They know they can't win. That's why they're being smart and not fighting." Back on Earth, Director Min Kim met with world leaders for the final briefing before the defense plan began. "Tomorrow, the alien mining ships will land in these 12 locations," he said, pointing to a map. "They expect us to either welcome them or run away in fear. They do not expect us to fight." "When do we reveal our true capabilities?" asked one of the leaders. Min's face was stern. "We wait until they commit fully to their landing. We let them think we are weak. And then, when they are most vulnerable, we strike." Jun-Ho added, "The first rule of war is to let your enemy underestimate you. The aliens think we are primitive because our technology is different from theirs. This is our advantage." Around the world, military units moved quietly into position near the expected landing sites. They carried weapons that looked simple but contained Earth's most advanced technology. Dr. Yun Choi sent a message from her underwater base. "Quantum disruptor ready for activation." Dr. Soo-hyun reported from her lab. "Stealth technology functioning perfectly. Their scans show only what we want them to see." And Captain Hannah Lee prepared a special team on the Resilience. Strike Force Alpha ready for space deployment. As night fell across Earth, millions of people went to sleep not knowing that tomorrow would change the fate of humanity forever. Above them, the alien ships moved into position for the first mining landings. The trap was set. Earth was ready. Morning came. The sky was clear and blue, except for the dark shapes of alien ships hanging above 12 locations around the world. These were the mining ships, ready to take Earth's resources. In Seoul, crowds gathered in the streets to watch the massive ship hovering above their city. Police tried to keep people calm, telling them to go home. But many stayed, eyes fixed on the alien vessel. Director Min Kim watched the feeds from his command center. "Are all teams in position?" he asked. "Yes, sir," an officer replied. "All 12 locations are ready. We're just waiting for your order." Min nodded. "Remember, we do nothing until they make the first move. Let them land. Let them start their work. Let them think we are helpless." Aboard the Dolthari command ship, Surveyor Prime Delfiner gave the final order: begin surface operations. The mining ships descended slowly. Each one was the size of a large building. They came down in open areas, fields, deserts, and in one case, right in the middle of a city square. From each ship, smaller vehicles emerged. These were the extractors, machines designed to dig deep into the earth and pull out valuable minerals. They rolled out on metal tracks, making the ground shake. In the desert outside of Phoenix, Commander Jun Park and his team watched from hidden positions as an extractor began tearing up the ground. It ripped through the sand and rock like they were nothing. "Wait for the signal," Jun told his soldiers, who were getting angry watching their land being destroyed. Not yet. The 12 extractor teams worked for an hour, digging huge holes and processing the material they found. They separated valuable minerals from ordinary rock and loaded them onto the ships. Then one of the extractors in Brazil hit a power line. A city of 2 million people suddenly lost electricity. The alien machine didn't stop. It kept digging, tearing through more power lines, roads, and water pipes. Director Min Kim saw the destruction on his screens. "That's enough," he said firmly. "Give the order." Around the world, military commanders received the same message. Operation Omega is go. Near each landing site, hidden weapons powered up. They didn't look like much. Some were disguised as farm equipment, others as construction vehicles. But inside, they held technology that Dr. Su Yun had developed specifically to target the aliens' weaknesses. In the desert, Jun gave the order: fire. His team activated their weapons. Beams of concentrated energy, invisible to the alien sensors, hit the extractor. The machine froze, then fell apart as its control systems failed. Similar scenes played out at all 12 landing sites. Alien machines stopped working. Some exploded. Others just shut down. Inside the mining ships, Dolthari crews were confused and afraid. "What's happening?" A ship commander demanded. "Why are the extractors failing?" "The humans," someone replied. "They're attacking with some kind of energy weapon. But our sensors didn't detect any such technology." On the command ship, Surveyor Prime Delfiner received the alarming reports. "Impossible," he shouted. "They're primitives. How could they have weapons that can harm our technology?" His second-in-command showed him the data. "Sir, all 12 mining operations are under attack. We've lost 28 extractors already." Delfinar's anger grew. "This changes everything. If they want to fight, we will show them what real power is." He turned to his weapons officer. "Target their major cities. Begin with the one they call Seoul. Show them the price of resistance." In the underwater facility, Dr. Yun Choi received word of the aliens' plan from their intercepted communications. "They're going to attack Seoul," she told her team. "Activate the quantum disruptor now." The massive machine powered up fully for the first time. Energy surged through it, creating waves that spread around the planet and into space. On the Dolthari ships, chaos broke out. Their communication systems went dead. Ship commanders couldn't talk to each other. Weapons wouldn't fire. Navigation systems showed nonsense data. "What's happening?" Delfenar demanded. "Why can't we target the city?" His technology officer looked terrified. "Sir, something is blocking all quantum signals. Our ships can't communicate with each other. We're blind." For the first time, Delfenar felt fear. The primitives were not so primitive after all. The world watched in amazement as the alien machines failed. News spread quickly. Humans were fighting back, and they were winning. In streets and homes, people cheered. But Captain Hannah Lee knew the fight was far from over. On the Resilience, she gathered her special team. The aliens are confused now, she told them. Their communication systems are down. Their weapons aren't working right. This is our chance to strike. Her team was called Strike Force Alpha, 20 men and women trained for space combat. They wore special suits designed by Dr. Su-Yan. The suits bent light around them, making them almost invisible. Our mission is to board the alien command ship, Hannah explained. We need to access their central computer and learn everything we can about them. This may be our only chance. The team boarded 5 small ships. These weren't normal spaceships. They were built with technology the aliens couldn't detect. Sue had discovered that the Doltheri sensors had a blind spot. They couldn't see certain energy patterns that humans had mastered. As the strike force left Earth, Commander Jun Park led the ground battle at the mining sites. The aliens had sent soldiers to protect their mining machines. These soldiers wore armor and carried powerful weapons. But Jun's forces had a special advantage. They used weapons that targeted the aliens' armor at its weakest points. The designs came from studying the alien technology using Sue's scanning device. Keep them contained at the landing sites. Jun ordered his teams around the world. Don't let them spread into populated areas. In the sky, Hannah's team approached the alien command ship. Their vessels made no noise and gave off no heat that alien sensors could detect. We're approaching the main hangar, Hannah told her team. Remember your training. Move quietly. Stay in the shadows. The suits will hide you from their eyes, but they can still hear you. The small ships slipped into the alien hangar, hidden among the confusion of damaged mining ships returning for repairs. Alarms were blaring. Doltheri crew members ran in all directions, trying to fix their failing systems. Hannah and her team left their ships and moved through the alien vessel. Their suits made them nearly invisible. The few aliens who noticed something strange were quickly subdued with silent weapons. This way, Hannah whispered, following the map Sue had created based on scans of the ship. The main computer should be 3 levels up. Meanwhile, Surveyor Prime Delthanar was trying desperately to regain control of the situation. How can this be happening? He shouted at his officers. They're just primitives. His second-in-command looked worried. Sir, I don't think they are primitives. I think they let us believe that. They have technology we didn't detect. Technology that works differently from ours. Delthanar pounded his control panel in anger. Restore communications. I need to contact the fleet. We can't, sir, said the technology officer. Something is blocking all quantum signals. We've never seen anything like it. On Earth, Dr. Yun Choi monitored the quantum disruptor. The massive machine hummed with power, sending waves that scrambled all Doltheri communications. It's working perfectly, she told Director Min Kim over a secure line. Their ships can't talk to each other. They can't call for help from their homeworld. Min nodded with satisfaction and engineered Jun Park's team. The global defense grid is online, Yun replied. If any more ships try to land, we can stop them before they enter the atmosphere. Back on the alien command ship, Hannah and her team reached the central computer room. 2 guards stood at the door. Hannah signaled to her team, and they moved silently. In seconds, the guards were unconscious. Get inside, Hannah ordered. Sue, you know what to do. Lieutenant Su Jin, their computer expert, went to work on the alien technology. Thanks to months of studying intercepted alien signals, she knew how to access their systems. I'm in, Su Jin said after a few minutes. I can access everything. Their database, their communication logs, their battle plans. Hannah smiled. Download everything. We need to know all about them, who they are, where they come from, and most importantly, why they thought they could take our planet without asking. As the data transferred to their secure devices, Hannah looked out a viewport at Earth below. The blue planet looked peaceful from space, but she knew the battle continued on the surface. They should have asked permission, she said quietly. On the alien command ship, Captain Hannah Lee and her team worked quickly. They had found their way to a large room filled with glowing screens. This was the ship's information center, containing the history and knowledge of the Doltheri Federation. "Look at this," Lieutenant Su Jin said, pointing to a screen showing hundreds of planets. They'd done this before, many times. Hannah looked closely at the data. These are all worlds they've taken resources from. Some have marks showing the native species were relocated. Relocated? Asked another team member. What does that mean? Su Jin's face darkened as she read more. It means they moved the natives to other planets. Or worse. Hannah felt cold anger rising inside her. How many worlds? At least 73 in the last 100 years, Su Jin said, all with the same pattern. They arrive, scan for resources, decide the natives aren't advanced enough for diplomatic status, then take what they want. While they searched the database, another team member named Q had found a different kind of information. "Captain, you need to see this," he called. "It's about how they judge civilizations." The screen showed a list of technological markers, achievements that the Doltheri Federation used to decide if a species deserved diplomatic recognition. Hannah read through the list: multiplanetary habitation, quantum fold engines, neural interface communication, gravity manipulation. These are their standards, Q explained. If a civilization hasn't achieved these specific technologies, the Federation considers them primitive and unworthy of diplomatic status. Su Jin looked up from her screen. But that's the strange part. We have achieved some of these things, just differently than they expected. What do you mean? Hannah asked. Look here. Su Jin pointed to another screen showing Earth's technology assessment. They scanned for quantum engines using tachyon patterns, but our fastest ships use gravity wave compression. They looked for neural interfaces with implants, but we developed external quantum readers. We reached the same goals, but by different paths. Hannah understood now. So we were invisible to them. They couldn't see our achievements because they were looking for copies of their own technology. As they talked, Professor Ta Kim was examining alien language files. As Earth's top xenolinguist, he had joined Hannah's mission to help understand the aliens. I found something important, Ta said. There are laws about contacting new worlds. It says clearly that any world showing evidence of unique technological development paths must be approached with diplomatic caution. So they broke their own laws, Hannah said. Yes, Ta agreed. They ignored signs that we might be more advanced than we appeared. Their scans should have detected our quantum experiments, our gravity wave tests, but they dismissed anything that didn't match their expected patterns. A sudden alarm sounded. Their time was running out. Download everything, Hannah ordered. We need to get this information back to Earth. As Su Jin and the others grabbed all the data they could, Hannah accessed the ship's communication system. She needed to understand what the Doltheri planned next. What she found made her blood run cold. They've called for reinforcements, she told her team. A battle fleet is on its way, and they're planning to make an example of Earth for daring to resist. Back on Earth, Director Min Kim received Hannah's urgent transmission. The situation is worse than we thought, he told the emergency council. The aliens have done this to many worlds before us. They have a whole empire built on taking resources from planets they consider primitive. Jun-Ho leaned forward. How long until their reinforcements arrive? 3 days, Min answered. Captain Lee is sending all the data she could find about their fleet. Dr. Su Yan is already working to find weaknesses we can exploit. In the underwater facility, Dr. Yun Choi adjusted the quantum disruptor to prepare for more alien ships. If they're following their usual patterns, she explained to her team, they'll send at least 10 larger warships. We need to be ready. On the alien command ship, Surveyor Prime Delphinaire was growing desperate. Something was wrong. The ship's systems reported intruders, but security teams couldn't find them. "Lock down all sections," he ordered. "Find the humans." But it was too late. Hannah and her team had already loaded the stolen information into their stealth ships and were preparing to leave. "What we found changes everything," Hannah told her team. "Earth isn't their first victim, but we might be the first to fight back and win." 2 days passed. On Earth, everyone was getting ready for the coming battle. All across the planet, hidden weapons powered up. Ordinary people helped by moving to safe places underground. The whole world now knew the truth about the aliens. Captain Hannah Lee stood in the command center with Director Min Kim and Professor Ta Kim. They were planning how to talk to the Dolthuri. "We've studied their language and laws enough to challenge them directly," Ta said. "We can prove they broke their own rules." Hannah nodded. "But will they listen? These aliens have taken what they wanted from many worlds. Why would they stop now?" Min Kim looked at the latest reports from Earth's defenses. "Because now they know we can hurt them. They've lost 30 ships already. They've never faced resistance like this before." On the alien command ship, Surveyor Prime Delphinar was no longer confident. His mining operation had failed. His soldiers had been defeated at every landing site. And now the humans had somehow gotten into his ship's computer. "I want answers," he shouted at his officers. "How did they do this? How did we miss their true capabilities?" His second-in-command stepped forward bravely. "Sir, I've reviewed the data. We made a critical mistake. We judged them only by how similar their technology was to ours. But they developed along different lines." "What are you saying?" Delphanar demanded. "I'm saying they've achieved level 3 status by Federation standards. They did it differently than we expected, but they qualify for diplomatic recognition. We should have approached them formally. We violated Section 27 of the Contact Protocol." Delphanar grew quiet. This was serious. Breaking Contact Protocol could cost him his position, perhaps even his freedom. "The reinforcements will be here soon," he said finally. "We will crush their resistance and take what we need. No one will question our methods when we succeed." Just then, a communication officer called out, "Sir, the humans are hailing us. They're requesting to speak with you directly." In the Earth Command Center, Hannah, Tai, and Min waited for the aliens to answer. Large screens showed the alien ship hanging in orbit. Finally, the screen flickered, and Delphanar's face appeared. "I am Surveyor Prime Delphanar of the Dolthuri Federation," he said. "You have caused much trouble, humans, but it will end soon. Our battle fleet arrives tomorrow." Ta stepped forward. "Surveyor Prime, I am Professor Ta Kim of Earth. We have studied your laws and contact protocols. By your own standards, Earth qualifies for level 3 diplomatic status. You violated Section 27 when you failed to establish formal contact." Delphanar looked surprised. "You cannot possibly understand our laws." "We understand them perfectly," Hannah said. "We accessed your database. We know about the other worlds you've harvested. We know you ignored signs of our advancement because it didn't match your expectations." Delphanar's eyes narrowed. "It doesn't matter what you think you know. The Federation has claimed this sector. Your resistance is just delaying the inevitable." Min Kim joined the conversation. "We have captured 17 of your mining ships. We have disabled your communication systems, and we have prepared defenses for your coming fleet. Tell us, Surveyor Prime, how many worlds have ever fought back like we have?" For the first time, Delphanar seemed uncertain. "None," he admitted. "But it changes nothing. The Federation. The Federation expects you to follow its laws," Tai interrupted. "What will your superiors say when they learn you attacked a level 3 civilization without proper diplomatic contact? When they learn you lost so many ships to a world you claimed was primitive?" Delphanar's face showed fear now. "You don't understand. I have orders. Resources must be collected." "Then you should have asked permission," Hannah said firmly. "We might have shared some resources through trade. Instead, you tried to take them by force." And now, Min added, We will show you why that was a mistake." He pressed a button, and screens around the room lit up with images of Earth's full defense system, hidden weapons platforms in space, powerful ships rising from secret bases, and technology that matched or exceeded the Doltheri's capabilities. Delthanar stared in shock. "This is impossible. Your world showed no signs of such advancement." "Because you didn't look properly," Hannah explained. "You saw what you expected to see, a primitive world ripe for taking. You never considered that we might have developed differently than you did." The alien leader was silent for a long moment. Then he asked, "What do you want?" Min Kim's answer was simple. "For your fleet to turn around, for your ships to leave our solar system, and for the Federation to acknowledge Earth as a sovereign world with full diplomatic status." "And if I refuse?" Delthanar asked. The next day, the Doltheri battle fleet arrived. 12 massive warships appeared at the edge of the solar system. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built, designed to crush any resistance. In the command center, Director Min Kim watched the screens with a calm face. "Are we ready?" he asked. "Yes," Dr. Su-Yun replied. "All defense systems are online. Dr. Yun Choi's quantum disruptor is at full power. And Captain Hannah Lee's team has finished preparing the captured alien ships." On the main alien command ship, Surveyor Prime Delthanar faced a difficult choice. He could tell the battle fleet to attack and risk losing everything, or he could admit his mistake and face punishment back home. His second-in-command urged caution. "Sir, the humans have proven more advanced than we thought. We should consider their offer." Delthanar pounded his fist on the control panel. "No, I will not be the first Surveyor Prime to retreat from primitives. The battle fleet will attack as planned." He sent the order to the fleet commander. But strangely, there was no response. "What's happening?" Delthanar demanded. "Why aren't they responding?" His communication officer looked confused. "Sir, our signals are going through, but they're not answering." What Delthanar didn't know was that Jun-Ho had prepared a special surprise. Using the technology they had learned from the alien database, Earth had created a powerful virus. This virus was now spreading through the battle fleet's computers, taking control of their systems. Commander Jun Park led the space operation from Earth's hidden space station. "The virus is working," he reported to Director Min. "We have partial control of 7 of their warships already." Min nodded with satisfaction. "And the new weapons?" "Ready to deploy," Jun confirmed. "If any ships resist the virus, we can disable them." Captain Hannah Lee prepared for the final confrontation. She stood on the bridge of the captured alien mining ship, now converted to serve humans. Her crew was ready. "Take us into position," she ordered. "It's time to deliver our message." Her ship, along with 5 others commanded by humans, moved toward the battle fleet. They transmitted a signal that the fleet's ships recognized as friendly, allowing them to approach without being fired upon. Meanwhile, Professor Ta Kim had prepared Earth's final message to the Doltheri Federation. All the world's leaders had approved it. It would be sent not just to the fleet but directly to the Federation's homeworld, using their own communication technology. In the command center, Director Min Kim gave the order. "Begin transmission." The message started with mathematical proof of Earth's technological advancement, showing how humans had achieved the same capabilities as the Doltheri, but through different methods. It included complete schematics of the defensive systems that had defeated the invasion force. Next came evidence of Delthanar's violations of Federation law, with specific references to the contact protocols he had ignored. The message showed recordings of Earth's attempts to establish diplomatic communication and the aliens' dismissal of these efforts. Finally, the message ended with a simple statement: "You should have asked permission." As the transmission went out, Hannah's fleet of captured ships surrounded the Doltheri battle fleet. The virus had now taken control of all 12 warships, locking their weapons and engines. Surveyor Prime Delthanar watched in horror as his reinforcements were neutralized without a single shot being fired. His own ship was now surrounded by Earth vessels. "This is impossible," he whispered. The communication screen lit up again, showing Director Min Kim, Captain Hana Lee, and Professor Ta Kim. "Surveyor Prime," Min said, "your invasion has failed. Your battle fleet is under our control. We have sent a complete report to your superiors at the Federation." "What happens now?" Delphinar asked, his voice weak. "Now," Hana said, "we establish proper diplomatic relations. We will allow most of your ships to return home, carrying our ambassadors to meet with your leaders." Tai added, "And you will face whatever consequences your laws demand for violating the contact protocols." Delphinar knew he was defeated. "I underestimated your world," he admitted. "Yes," Min agreed. "A mistake many have made about Earth. We may have developed differently than other worlds, but we are not primitive, and we are not helpless." In the days that followed, most of the alien ships left Earth's solar system, but humans kept 3 of them, studying their technology and preparing their own ships for deep space travel. The knowledge gained from the alien database opened new possibilities for human advancement. 6 months later, Earth's ambassadors returned from the Federation capital with good news. Earth had been officially recognized as a sovereign world with full diplomatic status. The Federation had established new contact protocols, requiring more careful assessment of developing civilizations. And across the galaxy, a new saying spread among spacefaring species: "When you find a new world, always ask permission first." Remember what happened at Earth.